You know what I mean?
What's it called if you fart out of your dickle?
I think it shares a name with. I think it's called "You Need to Go to the Fucking Hospital." I think it shares a name. It shares a name with one of the balls from Harry Potter's Quidditch game.
Mm-hmm.
Is it called a quaffle?
That's the one.
I feel like it's a quaffle.
Yes, sir. Absolute. I think I just quaffled in my jimmies.
See? I told you. It's definitely quaffle.
It's definitely quaffle. I can 100% hear that shit. Damn, I can't believe we passed by episode 69.
Yeah. It's the deed's been done.
Ain't nothing but a gold digger.
All the nice are out of the way, you know?
Nice. Are they?
I think they're pretty much out of the way.
We'll find out this episode.
Actually, tune in to find out more.
Nice. I think I've got to take a quick quaffle and I'll be good to go. Nasty. Absolutely nasty. You people are gross.
Y'all people are gross. Alright. I think all of the bull farts are out of the way.
Bull Fart is the name of my new game studio.
Bull Fart Studios. That's not bad. To be fair, I've done a lot worse. It's not good.
We just do remakes of Bullfrog games, but with fart, like scat humor.
Like Battle Shards.
Like Battle Shards, exactly.
Battle Turds?
I'm so glad somebody understands that.
Battle Turds, I think that one's okay.
So we want to do 26, 12,
right.
26?
Yeah, audio sound good?
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Cool. Welcome to the Mammoth Gamescast for the week of October 15th. I'm one of your hosts, Night Swarm. With me, as always, Filter Cord.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going, man. How's it been going with you? What's been going on?
Not a lot. I'm kind of like in, I don't know, like the end of Act 1 in a couple of games right now. Pillars of Eternity, Detroit Become Human. I started playing around with, like I briefly got into like City Skylines just to have something to do for, 40, 50 minutes, something like that. So haven't really been getting anywhere crazy yet. I know I'm probably like at the beginning of Act 2 in Detroit. So my scheduling is starting to all come into play here. I should be able to, my plan is to beat Detroit, which will get me a spot where I can get back into Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yeah, that's probably something I should do as well.
Yeah,
I'm having
like.
I was gonna say maybe when you get back into it, I'll jump back into it as well, and we'll have
okay. Because I feel like Origins will be a good like time killer.
Yeah,
I've heard good stuff about Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I think we kind of hit on it last week when we were talking about it coming out and everything, but like it's just like Odyssey, like the setting seems really cool. Like that period of ancient Greece, it's kind of similar to the setting as Assassin's Creed Origins, as far as I know, like time frame wise.
Mm-hmm. The thing that really got me is like I haven't seen anything that said, like, I've seen people say this game's fantastic. This is a cool game. Definitely go play it. But the highlights always seem to be more joke than it is like this is actually an awesome game to play. Like the highlights are, look at me taking this photo of me jumping over something on this fucking unicorn because some people got a unicorn for pre-ordering, or all of the Assassin's Creed Odyssey statue dongs rated in order. I saw that one. That one made me laugh.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I read the article. It's very enlightening.
yeah.
So yeah, that's like it's definitely interesting. I've heard now that this is the same Assassin's Creed team that did Syndicate, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm. Syndicate was
it's just yeah, it's super weird to me that Assassin's Creed like clearly did not learn their lesson of like releasing stuff too quickly, too back to back. You know.
Yeah. I think that's a good. Yeah, these two were really close to each other. And that was
gameplay wise, conceptually wise, time frame wise.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was an. I think they were just they had two stories, and you know, they had two stories, like two irons in the fire, basically, and they wanted to get both of them done. And then I think by that time they started looking at the time frame, and they're like, "Oh shit, yeah, we shouldn't do that again."
Yeah,
and that's when they were like, "Okay, we're gonna stop. We're not gonna do that." So,
yeah, it's
Grim says he's super happy with it, not bothered with the unicorns or climbing statue dongs. I mean, if it's there, you know.
Damn, what was the first? What was it that hung dong that I was super excited about like 4 years ago?
Oh man, what was that?
It was Order 1886.
Oh yeah, and then they did it in Conan, the more recently. I remember talking about it on there too.
Yeah, I think it's really brave to just have like cold, uninteresting, flaccid dong on screen. It's a really powerful artistic move. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, after that, that'll get me onto. Hopefully, that will give me a good bridge onto Assassin's Creed Origins. That's a good time filler until Red Dead comes out, and of course the Break It Early test app for Fallout.
Yeah, we're closing in. We were just talking about that a little bit ago. And
my asshole's closing in too.
Red Dead.
Hell yeah!
It's gonna be nuts, man.
That's gonna be the like state of my toilet, red and dead.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm now like we're close enough now that I've like shut off all Red Dead like media coverage. I don't want to hear anything. Like, I want that game to hit me like a ton of shits. So
yeah, I feel like it's going to like it's. I mean, Rockstar is one of those studios that like I can pretty well trust that their game's going to be amazing, and it doesn't matter if it's a multiplayer or non-multiplayer because they do their own thing. Like it was the other day, I was talking with Ashley, and I was like, "Yeah, Red Dead comes out the 27th," and she's like, "It comes out on a Saturday," and I was like, "Rockstar does whatever the fuck Rockstar wants."
Yeah, I mean, like they're definitely not nervous about that kind of shit.
No, not at all.
I think there was something like maybe the digital comes out a little sooner or something. Let me look into that.
Yeah, but that one's going to be good. They of course sparked a decent amount of controversy when they announced like a collector's edition like version of the game, but it didn't have a collector. It didn't have the game with it.
It didn't have the actual game. Yeah. It was just like shit, and they're like, "This is just for collectors, asshole." Like,
yeah, it's literally just for collectors, people who don't want to play the game, who just in real life want to be a cowboy. Like Grim was saying here, he's not sure he wants to be a cowboy, which I talked with him a bit about that before. He's just, I don't know, he just said that he wasn't too interested in.
Well, first off,
settings.
You're an outlaw.
Like, okay.
So you're like an evil cowboy. So I want to get that on the record. And secondly, I thought British people were supposed to love cowboy shit.
I don't know. I don't have enough information here to deliver what we need delivered.
My grandfather, my dad's dad, was not a big. He didn't watch a lot of movies. He didn't really read like any book series. Apparently, he was super into Western novels only. He didn't watch Western movies.
Really?
That's highly weird, isn't it?
That's interesting. Yeah, I
didn't know this dude could read.
Okay. So you're learning something. But like Western novels, I feel like would not be that exciting. I mean, does it read? I feel like I don't know why I just went to it. It reads like a it reads like a journal. Like
Mm,
today I ate some corned beef. I think I got diarrhea.
yeah.
I'm preparing to expire in 2 days. Like I feel like
Uh,
that's the good how that goes. Um, cool. Yeah, man. Anything else? You said Pillars of Eternity. Still going through this and what you're preparing to.
yeah, I'm still really early on Pillars of Eternity. Yeah, Assassin's Creed Origins. That's pretty much it. I mean, I've been kind of playing around on mobile, um, but not really a lot. Um, I'm playing some old like tower defense games that I've beat like 6 times before. That's really the only thing I'm into on mobile other than Pokemon Go.
Okay. Cool. Uh, yeah. Me personally, aside from playing Fortnite, I've also been playing Forza Horizon 4. That continues to be an awesome game. I don't have anything really new to say about that. I think I said most of my piece last week.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but in the spirit of uh, October and Halloween, um, jumped in and have been playing some Friday the 13th and Dead by Daylight. Um, so I figure it might be a good time to do like a little compare and contrast on what my thoughts are on those. Um, Friday the
Just a sec.
13th.
We have to pause. I got a work call coming in. I got to take.
Okay, I'll pause real quick. I keep
All right.
everything
I will
entertaining.
be right back.
All right. So if you guys are just joining and you haven't watched the show before, that's pretty much how we do. We start the stream, we talk a little bit, and hang out with people, kind of get the stream, make sure the sounds are good, and then we cut back and uh, start the podcast, which we record separate with a separate program. We record it with Audacity, um, and while other things happen, we just kind of like pause and then we just sync it up when we're done. And then this comes out. This is recorded over the weekend. Usually, it used to be Fridays, but Fridays kind of got hectic, so now it's been Sundays. And then we release the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Podbean.com on Monday, every Monday morning, so you can listen to it while you're doing whatever it is you do on Mondays. So hopefully that helps you kind of ease your way into the week. Talk, listen to some people talk about some things that you want to hear about. So, all right, Grim, what are you talking about here? Still a cowboy. You're different. As an Englishman, he's different. Um, you don't read. Wait, I'm not sure if you're saying that or you're laughing at the fact that Filter said that his grandfather doesn't read. Good stuff.
All right.
Good to go.
Well, for a little bit, in about 30 minutes, I'm going to hear how long it's going to take my mentor to get in, and then I have to go head into the plant. So it'll probably be, I should be free for like an hour and a half.
Okay, so yeah, let's power through this.
Yes, and we don't have a lot, so that should be all right. All right, start recording again. Let me get time is.
We'll do 37 and a half.
Okay.
My audio might be kind of bugged up. What are you at?
9:09, but I went a little long, so
Okay,
I'll just chop it up.
Okay.
I'll take some notes.
Mine's at 9:04.
Okay.
All right, here we go. But yeah, like I said, I've been playing Fortnite, Forza Horizon 4, nothing more to say there. But Friday the 13th and Dead by Daylight, with it coming into like the Halloween month. Friday the 13th, I've talked about it before. I've played it a lot before. This is just kind of getting back into it. This was actually the second. Like I played Dead by Daylight first, and then this. But this one's kind of more fresh on my mind. It's it's a fun game. I love the concept, and I love the concept. I love the setting. I like the characters. I like the building.
Okay.
But the game itself, looking back, feels clunky,
Hmm.
really clunky. Like you spend more time, like if you're playing as Jason, you spend more time running around and trying to grab a camp counselor
Yeah.
than you do actually like feeling like you're stalking people.
Hmm.
It just it pulls me out of it because it just like it doesn't work the way that it like should.
Yeah.
I feel there's something that's well off about it, but that doesn't like take away from the fact that the game does deliver a good scare. It's one of those games that um, can like it can actually instill a bit of fear in people
Hmm.
because Jason can show up out of nowhere and get you, and that's
Well,
I think
yeah.
that's really interesting. Um, yeah, I mean, we ran a few last night, and I had played one or I hadn't played it in a while since. So it, this one, like I said, is pretty fresh. But the character, you know, not really progression, but you do gain levels as a player, and then you unlock new characters, tons of interesting kills, and new unlockables. So it makes it kind of worth it to keep going and keep
Hmm.
playing.
Hmm.
Um, but you do kind of hit that like peak of now I'm such a high level, it's going to take forever to get to the like next thing and unlock the next character. Um, or get the next thing that I want for this character, like it might be an outfit or whatever. Um,
Hmm.
but all in all, this game's I think it's really good for a company or a studio that started off as a Kickstarter as like a fan thing, and then
Yeah.
they got the rights.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
super impressive. Um, but like switching gears and going to Dead by Daylight.
Hmm.
Dead by Daylight is I don't want to say it's fun, but there are things about it that's fun. I like the different settings, and I think a lot of it has to do with how you feel how you feel in the setting. It doesn't This game doesn't instill fear like Friday the 13th does. You
Yeah.
have a you have a clear cut goal, and the goal is not be captured, repair generators, escape. That's like
Hmm.
it. But there are things that just don't make sense. As the killer, you basically knock people down until they're injured, and then you pick them up and place them on a hook. And for
Hmm.
whatever reason, these demons, like I don't know, with like kind of remind me of like spider legs, come from
Okay.
around this hook, and they're trying to like stab you. I don't know why.
Hmm.
And then when they do stab you, they just pull you into the sky. I
Um,
I don't. It doesn't make sense. Um,
that's kind of cool, I guess.
it. I don't know what that's about, but what I do like about it is that there is a defined goal, whereas Friday the 13th, people generally get confused. Like, what
Hmm.
am I trying to do? What am I trying to find? How do I get out of here? And it's like in Friday the 13th, you either want to get the fuse and call the cops. You definitely want to
Hmm.
contact Tommy Jarvis as well. Um, you can get battery, gas, and keys and start one of the two cars, usually two cars, or a
Hmm.
propeller and take one of those things of gas, and you can get in the boat. So
Huh.
there are different means, but they don't explain them at all.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I don't know. I like I don't know. After everything's said and done, I definitely like Friday the 13th more, and I think it's because of the actual scare factor and then of the actual amount of players that you can have. You're playing with 8 players on Friday the 13th, where you're playing as with 5
Hmm.
on Dead by Daylight. But Dead by Daylight does have I think it's a procedurally generated thing they call a blood web, and it gives you
Okay.
random things like a random perk or item or something like that.
That's
Um,
interesting.
but yeah, it's I had never played Dead by Daylight until recently, and it was it felt clunky as well, just like Friday the
Hmm.
13th. So I'm not sure if it's a problem with the game. I don't know why it would be a problem with the style of game.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know why, but I do love the killer variety. They have a lot
Mhm.
of different killers. They have Freddy. They have Michael Myers. They have like a Hills Have Eyes looking hillbilly, a nurse.
Nice.
Yeah, they have a good selection.
Huh.
But
That's pretty cool.
yeah, I think between the two, I think my pick uh, for the better game to play probably for the month. Not just because it's free this month too on PlayStation Plus, but because I don't know. I think it's all around better. Is
Mhm.
Friday the 13th.
Okay. Yeah, this style of game is really interesting. I don't see why it wouldn't, you know, be fun or interesting or whatever. Like, it seems like there's such an issue with getting this kind of stuff to run and getting the like, um, I don't know, the rights and everything that you need.
Yeah,
Seems to be a huge problem.
that's what they're having problems with now. Friday at
Hmm.
least.
Hmm.
I don't know how
Yeah.
they labeled the characters in Dead by Daylight.
Hmm.
I think they labeled them as something different and then made the characters in the likeness.
Right. So it's not Freddy. It's like Hook-handed man or
Yeah,
something.
there's
Yeah.
no lines, there's no um yeah, it's just like what the character looks like. And I think there's probably some physical differences that,
Hmm.
differentiate the characters so they can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So, um but I mean if you have a decent group of people to play this with, I think either game could be pretty fun.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, go check those out, especially Friday with it being free for the rest of this month for PlayStation Plus. I mean, you really can't beat that.
Hmm. All right.
Cool. I guess that will, yeah, that's pretty much it for all the stuff we've been playing. Aside from, I know you mentioned Pokemon Go a bit, been playing that as well,
Hmm.
trying to get the shinies that they keep pushing out, and then like inevitably not finding one and missing the opportunity, like with the female Nidoran.
Hmm.
Good times. But yeah, we don't have anything monthly. Of course, we ran through PlayStation Plus, Games with Gold, and Twitch Prime. You can
Twitch
check.
Prime. Yeah.
I think that would be last week's episode. Did we run through all that last week, or was it the week before?
We did Twitch last week and everything else the week before.
Okay, yeah. You can do
Yeah.
that, or you can always head over to facebook.com/Mammoth Games Inc. to check out all the top news and video game stuff is there. I always do the PlayStation Plus lineup for the month, pin it to the top of the page so you guys can see that, and everything that we talk about here you can see over there first, so you can chat with us and cast your opinion, and then join us here kind of at the end of the week for a nice wrap up, and after you've had a chance to simmer on your opinion, you can talk about that.
For
As
sure.
well, follow us on Twitter at Mammoth Games Inc. So you know we go live and do stuff just like this, or other stuff. What next week we do have the conclusion to this arc for Tremulous is
Yeah.
scheduled, which is the tabletop Cthulhu and Cthulhu Lovecraftian inspired
Hmm.
tabletop game. So think like D&D. Um,
Yep.
and anything else. Sometimes when I go live, I post it over here on my personal channel, so you can join me for that too. But let's jump into games releasing. These games are releasing October 15th through the 21st. And we will. Do you want to take the first one, or do you want me to?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So we'll just dive right in on Tuesday, the 16th of October. We are looking at the release finally of Adult Swim Games Death's Gambit on PS4.
Nice.
I know we've talked about this, so I'm wondering maybe if it came out early on PC and it's now coming out on PS4 as well.
Yeah, let me look into this.
Let me
I
do a
know we
little research
talked
on
about
that. Yeah,
it. Um,
but it's basically a you know, it's very similar to
yeah, this came out.
Dead Cells, a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah, this says it came out on PS4 and Windows on August 14th.
Yeah, I see that too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
this could be.
Grim was playing this.
Maybe it's an extra edition came out or something.
Yeah, maybe, or maybe it came out for Windows. Maybe it wasn't.
It is on
Windows?
Steam and GOG. So yeah, maybe it came out on PS4 first, and now it's out on Windows.
Yeah,
not sure, but
it's still a cool game.
I love the art.
Yeah, it's a kind of hard to explain. It's like an action platformer that
Metroidvania.
Yeah, it's a Metroidvania role playing action platformer with pixelated like a 2D pixel graphics. Their art style for like their cutscenes is really wispy and nice too. It's different.
Yeah. I really like the cutscene stuff.
Yeah,
it's almost like Diablo.
Yeah, Grim could weigh in on this one pretty good. I'm sure. I think he had played this one quite a bit. He's really been on a tirade of playing indie games. Yeah, which is cool. It's very different for him. Like from back when I remember first talking to him, he was really big into AAA, and then he just got onto that, which is cool.
Yeah, I have that same cycle.
Right. Cool.
And similar to that, sort of in the similar like brutal hardcore vein, right? The For Honor Marching Fire expansion, also on Tuesday, is coming out for PC, PS4, Xboner.
Yeah, I didn't know where to put this one. I didn't know if we should put this in games releasing or if we should just pop this into like news, like, hey, this is coming out.
Yeah, and this, of course, is including like a large free, just like a big patch. It's essentially DLC sized. That's adding some more content and stuff, and then the paid expansion is getting you the new, explicitly new content, not just balance tweaks or whatever.
Yeah, I'd really like to know. Like, I don't think I'd be interested to play it, but I would like to know if they fix their balance issues from way back when. Like, this game was unplayable when I played it.
Yeah.
When I tested it,
I was in on the beta or maybe alpha, and it was like, this is a huge problem.
There was one class that everyone played, and it would kill every other class. So the only way to balance it out is to play the same class as everybody. Okay, so the before and after for graphics is really good.
Yeah.
That's a really good update, and that's one thing that Ubisoft is doing right. They could have.
Ubisoft's been really good on all their games of supporting it long term.
Yeah, this is one of those games that I looked at it and I was like, okay, they're gonna make it, and it's not doing well, so they're probably gonna kick this shit to the curb. But they haven't, and they've continued to support it, and that's why I'm like, it'll be interesting to hear a bit more about this. And I like the fight style. You have to switch between like the three ways you stand to defend and attack.
Yeah. It's cool. I mean, it's definitely, ahead of release, I was super interested in it, and then it just didn't really work at launch, and now I don't know if I'll ever get back into it. But we did just get it free.
Yeah.
On several... I mean, it was on PC during E3, right? PS4 recently. I think it was available on Xbox One at some point, so I think pretty much everybody has this for free at this point.
All right. So we'll keep on moving right along. Also coming out on Tuesday the 16th for Switch, PS4, Xbox One, PC from WB Games, Lego DC Supervillains. These are getting out of hand. There's been a lot of Lego games.
There's a lot.
So this is pretty much the flip side to what I would imagine like the Lego superhero games are. You just play as the villains and you destroy stuff. Which is
like probably 786 different characters you can play as. Yeah,
which is, I guess, kind of cool for those interesting parties. I mean, I don't know. I like the idea of kicking the shit out of Superman. I mean, that's cool. Good for me.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan.
I don't know. I couldn't possibly like get into a Lego game at this point because there's so much. They're releasing like 2 or 3 of them a year.
Right.
There's just like the raw level of like insane amounts of content that they're pumping out really like is amazing. I mean, this is the inverse of Telltale, right? Like Telltale would get all these huge licenses and like pump out this I would think pretty good content, and it just wasn't working. And then Lego just shits out the exact same thing over and over again and makes bank every time apparently.
Yeah, they do.
So
I think the difference is they have the like Telltale's market is definitely not geared toward they have their like audience, their niche
mhm,
audience. Whereas Lego also has that, but it's also geared towards kids.
yeah.
So I mean, you know, any parent they're gonna like if they see
Yeah, they get the like
like
hardcore fans,
yeah
and they get like you said, they get a big kid audience. They get people that are just into Lego in general. Like, um, yeah, I don't know.
for sure. Yeah, in the chat we had Raikama. He talked about this game uh, last year, the Nightmare. I'm kind of going to interrupt here for a second. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's a it's a very similar game to what I was talking about earlier with what I was playing with um, Friday the 13th and Dead by Daylight. But yeah, last year the Nightmare is it says Halloween night 1996. A group of teenagers awake to find themselves trapped in a dark, twisted reflection of their sleepy hometown of Forest Hills. Um, so it's basically it looks like it's a first person shooter in the style of um, like those survival games, and
Mm-hmm.
it looks kind of cool. Like I'm not sure if they have different like in levels or whatever, but it's yeah, it looks like a lot of the time they're trapped in like a school,
Yeah.
and that someone's like viewing them through like cameras or whatever, or tracking them. It looks like I've already seen like a little variety of different killers and
Mm-hmm.
characters, you know, from the really like skinny science nerd to the jock to the prom queen. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this one looks pretty cool. Let me look up
It's looking good. Yeah.
let me look up a release date on this. Um,
They definitely went with like a little more of a um. They had like a style change that I think gave them all a huge advantage of not having to be like like photorealistic looking.
right.
They
Yeah.
kind of got like a chunky, like almost like comic look.
Yeah. It feels like it reminds me of a kind of like the style of like the Batman Arkham games.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm. Just a little
um,
chunky.
yeah. But yeah, it looks like it's just says fall 2018. It says coming first to Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That's Discord's making that curated marketplace.
yeah.
That's cool.
And it is 5 survivors, 1 killer, so it's 6 players.
Hmm.
Whereas Dead by Daylight has 5 and Friday has 8.
8, yeah.
Um, and yeah, looks like the same thing, you know, as we were
Mm-hmm.
talking about before. One person plays a killer, whereas 5 other people play survivors.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, good call, man.
Hmm.
That one's something I'll be on the lookout for. It's too bad it like didn't make it here like October. Like making
For
it for
Halloween, yeah.
Halloween would have been really ideal.
Yeah.
Cool. And let's move on. We have
Starlink.
Starlink coming to Switch, PS4, Xbox One from Ubisoft. Starlink Battle for Atlas. Uh, to be honest, I don't know a lot about this game. I do know that it has little like spaceship toys that you can buy
Oh yeah.
and like
Grim's all over this.
hook them into your I think you hook them into a thing that you attach to maybe your
Like a little
controller.
dock for the controller or something.
Yeah, and then it just kind of like reads that this is the ship that I'm flying around as.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's definitely a like a space pilot game. I haven't seen anything where they're like outside of their
Hmm.
spaceship. So yeah, I'm not too sure. The marketing hasn't been great on this one either. They've shown off a few
Well,
things on like at bigger shows or whatever, but I haven't seen anything
hmm,
really outside of it.
yeah. It's I mean, it's a really cool idea. Um, it seems a little late to the game for this, to be honest. Like the Toys for Life thing is kind of played out at this point. So
That's
I
my
don't know.
problem.
Like part of the thing that gets me is that a lot of their marketing is like, oh, you can change shit on the fly. Like, am I going to do that? You know what I mean? Like, am I really going to be in the middle of a match and it's like, oh fuck, I have to like snap on my like turbo cannons to bypass their shields. Like that is going to be annoying as shit.
Yeah, well, it's taking your eyes away from the screen for
I
one.
mean, not only that, but like I have to have every single piece that I need laying around me. And also, there's the thing that's like, oh, am I going to have to like is the game gonna force you to go buy new parts as they come out? Because it's like, oh, you can't really beat this boss unless you're just super good, unless you buy this thing. Because we know
Right.
that Ubisoft will do that shit, because I've already heard a billion people say that Assassin's Creed Odyssey, just immediately as soon as you load up the game, buy the permanent XP increase for $10, because that's the way the game is meant to be played. Like that ain't good.
Yeah. I
I've heard a
don't.
lot of people say, don't buy the limited edition, like the first upgrade. They're like, don't buy any of the collector's editions. Buy the base game and then spend $10 on the XP doubler. It's like, that is really not a good look. So, I don't
Crazy.
know. I can see Ubisoft being a little abusive with this.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at this and I was like, man, this is like. I feel like I was like, is this like 2010, 2011?
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
this is like a last ditch effort. This would have been probably. It probably could have done okay if it would have came out around the same time as Skylanders.
Or like
With
the
it,
third or fourth wave of Skylanders when it started to really drop off.
yeah,
Like this would have been really like fresh and cool at that point. And that's sort of not long from when it was announced. Like I think it was announced a year or two after that point that we're talking about. So
yeah. But Grim was saying that his one of his friends has like 50 hours into it and he's not finished with it. But
oh
I,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's
I
not.
mean Assassin's Creed is something where people are saying you know, when you hit hour 15 the game starts to get good. It's
Oh, I
like
thought he
that
was
ain't good.
talking about the Starlink game. I know he has a few friends that write,
That's
write
not
for
out, so
Well, they write for magazines and they got
oh yeah.
like
That
review
could be.
copies.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if he's talking about this game or if he's talking about like Assassin's Creed.
Either way, I mean it's all Ubisoft, so
Yeah, right.
each one of them's 120 hours if you want 100% it.
Oh no, he's talking about AC. It was just I don't think he said anything about it. Anyhow, cool.
Yeah, I really haven't heard about Starlink yet from anybody.
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
All right, and then for the final game coming out on Tuesday the 16th, it is Warriors Orochi 4. That's coming out on the Switch, PS4, Xbox One, PC from Koei Tecmo. If you ever have played Dynasty Warriors, this is that.
Yeah.
They have like 3 different Dynasty Warriors adjacent games that are all basically the same style. So there's there's a couple different versions of Dynasty Warriors even, but then there's the Warriors Orochi series here, which is usually like sort of more well known. Like so, Dynasty Warriors is what the battle of the 3 kingdoms or whatever in China.
Right.
Then there's like Samurai Warriors, which is the same thing but in Japan. And then there's Warriors Orochi, which is like not really in a definitive time period, but here they're basically showing off like a bunch of Greek and Romanic gods. So I really don't know where they're coming from or where they're going, and it basically all looks bad. We were making fun of this before the show.
Yeah, it's just like what we were saying. Like I guess in our defense on why we were like, why are they still doing this? Is
Yes.
that right there? Why are they still doing this?
That's the question. Yeah, because like, and that's what my main argument was, is that in the PS2 era, Dynasty Warriors was sick. Like I played Dynasty Warriors 2, 3, and 4 with my cousin. I played Empires 4. I played that all the time. So like, I like at the time it was really cool. You could have a bunch of characters on screen. It was really cool to be so powerful and like just run around and fuck shit up. I was super into that, and it's like, you know,
it was reaching its
like
limits.
Knack is way more technically impressive than any of these games anymore.
Yeah, it was reaching its limits there, though. You know, it was like, holy shit! Look at all these characters on screen. Look at everything that's happening. They're all independently trying to attack me. And
Yeah.
now it's like we can have, like, it's not as impressive to say that.
Well,
like
I mean, now it's specifically unimpressive now, because you look at like Spider-Man, and if you want to talk about like civilians, like people on the ground or whatever, there are, you know, I mean, I don't know numbers, but it appears to be that there's over 50 unique character models, probably in the hundreds, right?
Probably.
Like, I've almost never seen the exact same idiot walking around twice, as far as I can tell. And if I did, they were so far apart that I don't know.
I think GTA really killed it with
GTA killed it.
Their NPCs. Like these, like some of their NPCs in going back to, I would say probably 4 with Nico Bellic and his brother Roman that just always wants to go bowling. Some of those characters have basically a life. Some of those NPCs, they walk out of their building, which is their home. They go down the street. They go to get coffee.
Yep.
They go to work. They stay there for a period of time. They leave work. They get in a cab, go downtown, and then they come back home. And then they might repeat that tomorrow. But that's still just one of like 200 people that are in the game doing that.
I mean, when you're playing like a Dynasty Warriors game from Koei here, in a fight, there's like an army of like 20 enemies that you're, 20 or 30 enemies all in a cluster that you're fighting, and they're literally all the exact same dude.
Right.
Or like maybe one of 2.
Yeah.
And it's like, that really doesn't cut it anymore. Like, these guys are getting away with making a game where they only make a total in the entire game of like 70 character models. And it's like, so again, Spider-Man, I think, is a good example, because like Koei Tecmo used to have, I don't know about anymore, but it used to have a similar sized audience to Insomniac. Like, it was a lot more popular in Asia. You know, it would, they could self-publish games, but they weren't self-publishing AAA. Whereas, like, I guess Insomniac's broken that. But, previously, like, there's 23 Spider-Man models.
Yeah.
Not to mention how many different models will be on screen at once. And of course, when you're fighting the enemies in Spider-Man, there's like, 30 or 40 total different enemies that you'll fight.
Yeah.
But like, it's really weird to like, that they're continuing to just pump these games out, and it's basically the exact same game over and over again. Like Grim said here, they need a new engine. They need to update the graphics, because the shit, it looks PS2 still.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like they've just hit the early era of PS3 when they hadn't really figured the technology out yet.
I think it would like lend really well to just hit the drawing board again. Not
completely redo something.
Yeah, not go back and change exactly how the game like works, but it needs new features.
They should do, basically what Microsoft did with Microsoft 8, or Windows 8, I should say. Scratch everything, completely throw everything in the trash, and redo it. Because, that makes a big difference. That cleans up a lot of trash that you don't need. That really lets you know, like, oh, well, we did it like this. Like, we would put enemies on screen using this method, and now we can have way more different, more interesting enemies on screen using this new method that's been developed 5 years ago that we just never implemented because we already did it. So, like, there's a lot of little tweaks like that they could afford to make, and that I think would make the games a lot more interesting. Like, I would love to pick one of these up, but they just don't meet the quality that they did in in to be fair, they weren't good in PS2 era, 2005 or whatever. It wasn't a good game then, but there was just so little that they were going up against that was at that quality bar that could fit that many enemies, that could
this was a time
show that many particles on screen or whatever. Like,
I mean, this was a time when the like Japanese influence games were such a big thing.
Yeah.
Like back on like PS2, where some of the bigger games that we were playing were like Kingdom Hearts or
Final Fantasy 10, 11, 12,
yeah,
13.
like all the Final Fantasies.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, these were big back then, I think, because of who they surrounded themselves with too. So
yeah,
that's interesting.
So speaking of kind of niche Japanese games, right?
Right. Like this whole day belongs to Bandai Namco.
Damn.
Friday, October 19th.
Kind of weird. I guess they're not. I don't know if they're competing against themselves. Maybe I was a little quick to say that.
Yeah.
Because these are different. These are all different games aiming at a different market.
Yeah. First up, we have for the Switch on, like I mentioned, Friday, October 19th, Dark Souls Remastered.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty cool.
What more is there? With all these, really, it's pretty cut and dry. Like, so we got Dark Souls Remastered on the Switch. That's really cool to have it portable, because I imagine that a lot of people will just like sit like in a dank like dungeon playing it like a troll. Which is kind of what like Dark Souls wants of you. So again, like everything should be on the Switch forever. The motion controls definitely is a hard no from me.
Yeah.
No game has ever been improved with motion controls.
I do think that could be interesting to try, but I don't think it would be something that I would do.
I mean, it depends. Like,
ever.
Does it let you trigger things that would normally be somewhat random? Like death animations. So, like, can you trigger a death animation that normally would just happen because you killed an enemy?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, can I force a automatic kill?
I do want to go out and say, don't play this game handheld. I know it's good, but if you're gonna play this game handheld, set up the little stand on the back and detach all your stuff. This game is very frustrating.
Oh, people will start smashing that
People
Switch.
will smash the shit out of their Switch. So let's go ahead and be careful. But
I mean, I don't know. Might be time to get in that Smash Brothers Switch, so maybe you can just bust this one. Who cares, right?
It's the whole reason Nintendo was like, oh yes, please bring your game to our system. So people fucking destroy their system and have
in the commercial they have people throwing Joy-Cons. That's crazy. But so same day, still Bandai Namco, Dark Souls Trilogy coming out on PS4 and Xbox.
That was so real. In the trailer, the dude's on the shitter playing the Switch.
A little too real for me, to be honest.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, Nintendo.
It's about time.
So, not to be outdone, same day for PS4, Xbox. Dark Souls Trilogy is coming out.
Oh yeah. 1, 2, 3.
All the DLCs. All the DLCs, all in one place. This is a fantastic deal, I think. If you're not sure about Dark Souls, I would say do your research, and then if you want to continue, this is the thing to buy. The game's crazy, and it has a really tough arc that you have to get over. You have to learn. This game isn't about just beating things up. You have to protect yourself. It's one of the only games in the industry that you have to protect yourself.
It's not Devil May Cry.
It's definitely
got that it's got that aesthetic, but your emotions have to be a lot more controlled. You have to be a lot more careful.
Yeah, you don't want to be hit at all. So that's kind of the whole point. So It's like once you get over that and you know that you don't want to be hit, but you want to be able to hit the enemy, and you start looking at the way the enemy is moving and figuring out, you're gonna die. There's no way
Hmm.
around it if you're not like looking up guides on how to defeat
Right.
bosses. If you're going in there and playing the game like it should be played, you need to figure out how the enemy attacks and then
Hmm.
compensate for that and remember. And
Hmm.
it's cool. It's a very fun game. It's a game about building, about memory, and about watching your enemy's movement.
Yeah. It's such a
So
like extremely cool game. Like, I wish I could get into this. I just can't. Like, I will never dedicate the time to
like master that.
like master this. Like, it's just that's not on my radar. Like,
Right.
it doesn't port over to anything else other than Bloodborne, pretty much.
Right.
And like, this skill is not going to come advantage for me in the future or anything. Like,
I mean, I guess
it's just like I can't dedicate that amount of time to something.
I guess we'll see what happens with Sekiro.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
looking pretty different. Yeah.
yeah, it's looking a lot different though.
We'll have to see where it goes. I mean, again, Sekiro is something that I'm looking at, and I'm thinking, I may not want to play this at all. Not to say that I don't want to get super into it. Like, this might just be too Dark Souls for me. And everybody, of course, was complaining that it wasn't Dark Souls enough.
Right.
But it's something that I'm really like. I'm into the world. It's really cool what it's done. Like, it's sort of, like, games have been sort of making themselves more and more accessible over time. Which is a good idea. So you get more sales and people can make it harder for themselves if they want to. But in this one, it's like there's one mode and that mode is extremely fucking hard. So it's interesting how it was able to get such a huge portion of like mainstream like gamer attention. And it was really able to keep that running through all three games, again, plus Bloodborne.
Right.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's an interesting game, whether you're into it or not.
For sure.
And then the final game coming out, still Bandai Namco, on Friday the 19th, Soul Calibur 6. So I think we, again, just talked about this last week a little bit more.
Yeah.
Or the last couple weeks. We really don't have anything to add. They've talked about some of the story mode and some of the extra stuff you can do in it. It's looking pretty cool.
Yeah, some of the pretty much just some of the little extra, like, kind of what you'd expect at the, like, as
Yeah,
they're
pretty much a
crossing the
launch
finish
window.
line. Yeah, like, look at this little bit of stuff. Some great stuff in there. Geralt from Witcher.
Very good.
I'm not sure who else they've thrown in there, but a lot.
I think he was the main. He was the main like guest character. The other thing they're really showing off, like you said, is bringing back some old characters that we weren't sure were going to make it into the future. So
right. Oh, the customization looks interesting.
Yes, like create your own character is dope.
Wow. Yeah.
And they've been doing this for a long time, but it's looking really good now.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely excited to dig into that and make some kind of complete like abomination monster that nobody ever wants to play against.
Yeah. Oh, what the fuck is that? Yeah.
Holy shit! I gotta get out of here. I'm not fighting that. It's like when you like.
He has
it's
an
like when you have
afro and Hulk pants.
Yeah, that's good. A really bouncy afro. Extremely good hair physics on that afro. Yeah, it's like when you get like a level 99 Mewtwo and you name him like Bulbasaur. So it's like your opponent's about to use Bulbasaur and you're like, oh, I can fuck this up. And the Mewtwo comes out. So yeah, the character customization's looking really good. I'm excited to dig into that. It's usually pretty cool. The story mode's usually pretty good. So
sure.
I'm excited. Yeah. This will be the first one I played since 4 or 3, maybe.
Since Yoda and Vader.
So, was that 4?
Yeah, I think it was 4.
So that would be 3. Would be the last one I played then, because I didn't play that one.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, it's looking good.
Yeah, that Soul Calibur wraps up our games releasing from October 15th to the 21st. If there is anything in there that you think that we should have mentioned that comes out during that week, let us know over on Twitter at Mammoth Games Inc. We'll pop it into next week's episode. We don't really have anything for alphas, betas, demos, trials, and stuff. But we do have one pre-register for Assassin's Creed Rebellion for iOS and Android.
Yeah, that's looking kind of interesting.
Yeah, it has like a chibi design. The pre-register I'm pretty sure the game's just going to drop as free. And I can't tell exactly what it is. It says build your brotherhood. It has different rooms. It looks like there's training going on. There's forging. Um, and I'm thinking this is like a home hub. And then you leave and you get to kind of just go from place to place, like assassinating or fighting, or depending on how you enter from.
Yeah.
With this strategy, like 2D platformer.
Mhm.
But November 21st is the day. If you pre-register, you get some special rewards when the game does finally come out, including a character, weapons, extra currency, all that
Mhm.
fun stuff. So go do that. I wasn't like, this is like the best thing ever. So
But I
I'm
mean,
not.
it looks
Yeah,
like at least they're like Ubisoft has made this problem in the past of like, oh, well, just make like as good of graphics as possible and as similar looking as possible and put it out on, you know, mobile or whatever. And that's like that doesn't work. You have to make a different thing, and this looks like a different thing.
right,
So I think that that gives me a lot of hope on it.
for sure. Cool. And with that, like I said, didn't have too much there, so we'll jump into the weekly news.
Mhm.
Um, we didn't have a ton here either. There were a few cool things that cropped up, so we'll take a look at all that.
Yeah,
First up, we have Borderlands 2 coming to PlayStation VR,
yeah, that's pretty cool.
launching December 14th. Yeah, that looks really cool. I was really excited to see when the character like held their hands up
Hmm.
and you could see all the way like up to the elbow. You could see like
Oh yeah.
a heavy portion of hand, and that was
Hmm.
really cool. Whereas usually in VR you have these like little invisible hands, or they look just like the remote that you're holding.
Hmm.
So this was a cool like departure from that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's pretty much the game that you played way back when Borderlands 2 popped.
Hmm.
Um, but the biggest new feature to Borderlands 2 VR is our take on bullet time called BAMF. Badass
Mm.
Mega Fun Time.
Oh, that's it. That's the one.
Um, it gives you the speed and reflexes of a rabid skag, allowing you to dodge bullets, pull off 360 no-scope headshots, and even use your action skill to fight off hordes of bandits, bully monks, and whatever else Pandora throws at you.
Hmm.
So that's interesting. One of the things that it's removing is multiplayer.
Okay, that's kind
So,
of weird.
um, yeah, I don't know if I just don't know the details on how uh, multiplayer and VR really work hand in hand. Is that something that works hand in hand well?
I would imagine not, but
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
um, I
So
don't know if like it depends on what the hardest thing to run on. Um, what's the hardest thing to run on VR? Is it the player that's moving in 3D, which I think it is, or is it the world? You know what I mean? I think the difficulty, like I don't know, the spot of contention is, um, it's the actual character's body in the world, which is very different than
mhm.
um, in other games. Like typically, for Halo, let's say, the world is the hard thing to render. The graphics. It's not hard to pop the first person gun on screen. You know what I mean? And like the player moving
Right.
through the world's not a big deal until they're hitting boundaries and you have to load a new area or whatever. But in VR, I think the player is the difficult part. I think that's something that is a big change in kind of how it runs.
I agree. And this is and like I notice a lot of VR games use like tokens of where I'm going to
Mm,
jump from this place to this place and this place to this place,
right.
like ground tokens.
Yep.
And I think
Teleporting
that saves
points.
yeah that saves
Exactly. It'd be
a lot of
really hard to.
resources. And
Yeah.
these guys aren't doing that, so
Right.
I feel like
So
their
that might
resources.
be why they can't do the multiplayer thing, because having to render that like 2 or 3 or 4 times, the game just probably couldn't run it.
Yeah.
Like
So
we'd need way more powerful.
it's still a cool step, I think.
Mhm.
So, and I think it's weird that they did pick two.
Of all of them, like why wouldn't you just hop in on one?
Why would you hop in on one? I mean,
that's a
it
good
has
question.
the graphically, it's the weakest. So
Yeah, that's probably true. It did the least.
yeah. So
Like, one pioneered a new look.
mhm.
The pre-sequel was like fucking with physics and shit. So yeah, it is interesting.
One also gave us Cage the Elephant, which is a good band.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're actually made up of all people that live in the Borderlands world. Not a lot of people know that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Definitely. Grim says he wants a new Borderlands. Keep an eye out. I think 2019 is
I
when I
feel
keep
like
hearing.
there's going to be an announcement. Yep.
Very soon. These guys have been working on this since forever. They've been working on this so long, and I know they have a big team. So I'm expecting something kind of revolutionary from Borderlands 3.
Yeah, I mean, they
next.
know that they can't just put the same thing out over and over again.
Right.
Like, we're going to have to do something new, and I think they've been getting that ready. So we'll definitely see something pretty soon, I think.
Sure. All right.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah, so I guess sad news, but it has to happen eventually. Greg Stafford, a kind of a famous, kind of like, I think, not as well known game designer, has passed away at age 70, and this is going to be something that's going to be happening increasingly more often, which is kind of weird to think about. Like, people who were early game pioneers are going to die of old age, which is totally weird. Like, it's really weird to think that the industry is getting old enough that people are aging out. Like,
yeah, I mean,
he didn't they said it was painless and quick. Like, he just died in his house. So
I mean, that's the ideal way.
That's how I'm gonna die for sure. But that's because I don't leave the house. It
It
won't be peaceful. I'll tell you that.
I mean, yeah, we're getting to that time of the people who created, great designers.
How long does
games.
How long does Will Wright have? How long does Sid Meier have? Maybe another 20 years.
Yep.
So Greg Stafford, he founded Chaosium Incorporated, which was he founded it in 1975, so keep that in mind. There's a lot of pen and paper stuff that he worked on. Famously, they made the Call of Cthulhu RPG. So, he directly worked on that, as far as I know, the early versions. He made RuneQuest and HeroQuest, and the Glorantha campaign setting that has appeared in a lot of other stuff. He's written fiction. There's the company sells art from their books and stuff. He's also worked on 13th Age, Basic role-playing, BASIC, which I'm sure stands for something. He worked on a Mythic, Magic World, Nephilim, Super World was not as popular. And then they've also made a couple tabletop games. But he has really worked on a lot. And he's been around for a really long time.
I mean,
I don't know. I saw a lot of people talking about these old time game designers that were oh, this guy was huge. He was so influential to me. And it's, we, you and I, are of a generation that we basically missed the direct stuff he worked on, I guess, other than Call of Cthulhu.
Right.
And we were kind of inspired by people who were inspired by Greg Stafford.
Right.
So it's interesting. It's kind of I forget when Gary Gygax, is Gary Gygax still alive?
I don't think so.
Dave Arneson died a couple years before we made it to Full Sail, and he helped found the game design department there. So, Gary Gygax,
2008.
2008, and then Dave Arneson, 2009, I think, or 2010, 11, 12, 2009. So, it's this guy was right after them.
Right.
He just lived a healthier life, pretty much. So, sad to see him go. I don't know. He's just been a board member at the company for a while. I don't think he's directly designed anything in 15 years, but
he's
still a big figurehead. Yeah,
he's I put all of my work in, here.
Yeah, here's the stuff. People are continuing his legacy, but his section of it was pretty much done, but he could have lived a little longer on that Call of Cthulhu money.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. We also have a little bit of info on Pokemon. The 4th gen is on the way.
Hell yes.
For Pokemon Go. This is going to be. I think this is going to come out. I think it's going to try to keep players involved with Pokemon Go as Pokemon Let's Go launches next month on the 17th for the Switch. I know that some of the characters, I think Piplup, I heard, was already spotted. I haven't seen one.
I haven't seen one.
But I've heard people talking about it.
Yeah, they're really teasing the starters.
Yeah. But yeah, they've said moving forward, the weather feature will have reduced effects on rates of which Pokemon will appear. As you explore a given area, you'll notice a greater variety of Pokemon species will appear over time. In certain areas, such as parks, nature reserves, will contain more variety of Pokemon, or more varied Pokemon species. A wider variety is what I was trying to say. So yeah, that's something to keep an eye out for if you are still into it and still trying to get load up your Pokemon Go, so when Let's Go comes out, you can throw them into the Safari Zone and transfer them to your Switch game, which is why I'm collecting doubles. That's my game.
Smart. Yeah. Very smart.
I don't want to miss out on anything.
All right, and some other. This is really cool, and we're biased on this, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit.
This is where we both went to school. But Full Sail University in Orlando area is actually going to make what will be the largest esports arena in the U.S. or in the esports arena at a college.
At a college.
College, okay.
That's what they said. I feel like esports arenas are a little bit more mobile, so they just kind of go into
typically it's like,
up.
Hey, let's slap one up in this, whatever. Yeah, so yeah.
What we're looking at here, the facility will be known as the Fortress.
Nice.
And it will be a 11,200 square foot arena featuring room for 500 fans. Pretty big. It has a nice middle stage. It has a almost like seating that has a screen behind the seating for people that are on the opposite side. It has chair floor seating, and then the stage in the middle will house tables with computers and chairs. It has the lighting rig up top, of course, with a circular screen that revolves that you can it'll kind of probably rotate slowly, showing this person versus this person, wins, losses, draws, all that kind of stuff. So
all right, I got a call. I'll be right back. You can go ahead.
All right. So while he's taking care of that, yeah, I think this one's pretty cool though. We was really surprised to see this. Seeing as how we both went to school. Cool here. But cool. I will be back in 1 second as well. All right, so I know in the chat we were talking a little bit ago about games that are coming out in like the back half. So I mean, what are you guys most excited for? I know Rekama mentioned Super Smash Ultimate. Stoked for Riker Belmont from Castlevania. Yeah, that one's looking really good. That one's on my list. That's probably going to be the big game that I play for December. I mean, the games that I'm playing, I usually have been picking. I've really taken a step back from streaming the last couple weeks. Probably about a month now. But yeah, like my lineup is going to be October for Red Dead 2 in October. November will be Fallout 76 and Pokemon Let's Go, and then Super Smash in December.
All right. Were you still recording?
No. Actually, my recording fully failed when we stopped last time. I hit start and it didn't load, so I'm gonna have to pull the audio from.
Okay.
And we'll just have all one thing.
That's fine, and that'll be easier to cut stuff out too.
Yeah.
So there was 9 minutes, and then around an hour and something.
All right.
So I got about an hour to before I gotta go.
Yeah, we'll wrap.
Well, I got an hour I have to be there, so I got about 40 minutes, which should be fine. Okay. More than enough. All right, so we talked about Full Sail.
Yeah. So we they have the Armada coming in. It's going to be a really big esports arena, and I can't wait to see what these guys do. This is really big, and a lot of people don't they don't understand. They're just like, oh, it's an esports arena. It's not just an esports arena. They're going to have students primarily run the entire show.
Right, which is really cool. Like to get that kind of credit and stuff. Yeah.
Which is really, really cool. Sure, they're going to have other people there that are big and like the people who call the shots, but all of the all of the seating arrangement, all of the organizing, all of the camera work, all of the setup of lighting and rigs and computers and everything, that's going to all be done by students. The same with NXT, WWE's kind of like entry show NXT. It's shot at Full Sail Live, and I knew a ton of people that while we were going there that worked on that show, and it's mainly just like film students kind of getting there. I want to focus on camera, running the camera. I don't want to focus on writing my own show. I want to focus on learning camera work and stuff like that. So I mean that kind of works out.
Editing, behind the scenes, audio. I know they had a big audio program.
Yeah.
Music, and then also like movie audio or whatever.
Full Sail kind of started with music though.
I believe it was originally like a music production thing.
Yeah.
And they kind of branched out from there into the entire entertainment industry, pretty much.
For sure. So yeah, that looks cool. We'll keep up on that. Like I live 5 minutes away, so I'm gonna try to figure out where they. I'm gonna try to figure out where they're putting this campus wise, and then.
I think I know where it has to be based on the fact that they said it used to be part of the film MFA.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I know where it is, but Full Sail's been making a lot of like moving and shaking of trying to stay up on top of the industry. Like they had the game user lab went from a
nothing.
It was half of a classroom size what it was originally.
Mm-hmm.
It was like in between two classrooms, pretty much.
Right.
It was about half the size of a classroom. It was deeper than it was wide. It was cool in there, but it was not a lot going on. And then they went and put in a fucking joint project with Wargaming that makes World of Tanks, and it was super cool in there. That was really cool. So they've been doing a good job staying ahead, and that's why tuition is what it is.
Yep.
Got 'em.
But it is what it is one of those things. I always say, what you put into it is what you kind of get out of it.
For sure.
So it's, if you do, there's, in hindsight, if I had done a few other things, I could probably be a little further along than I am. But that's the way it works with everything.
Yeah. That's definitely true. That's true of, my entire educational career. I'm ooh, boy, I really fucked out on this one. I can't wait to restart.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
So we've teased this for the last 5 years.
Uh-huh.
So PSN is finally having a name PSN Online ID change. So they're first going to roll out the beta. So people that are in the preview program, you can change your name once for free because they understand that you were young back then, you were foolish, and this time. Normally, it'll cost $10 if you're a Plus member. It'll cost $5 for every additional change.
Yep. And they have some cool
dope.
features. One of the features is the option to display your previous username alongside your new username, so your friends can kind of get like they can kind of understand. Okay,
Yeah.
that person was this person. But yeah, I feel like this is going to be like a whole thing.
Yeah, who the fuck is Teets McGeets?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
Who
used to be
Keith's
Nice Form. Okay, got it.
Yeah, you said one on your on Facebook that really made me laugh, and I was like, damn, dude, I
there's
don't
some
know.
good ones.
I would keep that one. People are going to.
There's some really good ones.
Fart Snatcher
Fork,
420.
Yeah. Fork Parker, which is the fake CEO of Devolver Digital.
Oh yeah.
It's like that old man image.
Yeah.
He said, if you think I'm going to change my name out of ass-eating grandpa 69, you're out of your fucking mind. So that was good.
In the chat, someone's like, nice one, you can change your name to Hot Dog Water too, like the fucking guy from last night. There was a guy in Friday the 13th called Hot Dog Water.
Who do you think Hot Dog Water 1 was?
He left.
Damn.
It was Hot Dog Water 1, I think, was the guy's name. So I would have to be 2. But who's Hot Dog Water?
That's a good question. Who the fuck took the hot username XX underscore hot dog water underscore XX? If you have an underscore or an X anywhere in your name, it's time to get rid of that shit.
For real. I feel like the guy that we were playing with, the Hot Dog Water guy, we were like, everyone goes, is his name Hot Dog Water? And everyone's like, damn. And I was like, I'm pulling for Hot Dog Water to win this whole thing. And then he left. I think he got he didn't have the nerves. He couldn't.
He got harassed. Time to leave. I'm getting doxxed.
I feel like he just he couldn't stand the pressure. It was just too much for him. And he understood. If you can't take the heat, get the fuck out of the kitchen. And he left.
Oh, this is interesting. Not all games and applications for PS4, PS3, and Vita are guaranteed to support online ID change, so you may occasionally encounter errors.
Yep, that's why you pick it right. That's why you pick it right the first time, son.
Yeah, why would that matter?
I don't know.
Maybe like save file names and things.
I feel like that's part of their I don't know. Everywhere, I don't know how Xbox does it, but
they said you can revert back to your old ID. Well, Xbox, anytime if you're looking at trophies, if you're looking at basically anything in Xbox, it's a operating system level thing. So it'll leave the game to go to that. It's kind of like when you leave a PlayStation game to go to the save screen. Mm-hmm. The actual save itself is clearly on PlayStation 4 operating system, not in the game.
Who makes the achievements for Xbox? Is that a post thing?
Good question.
Is that a post thing
that
Microsoft does in tandem, or is it?
I don't know that.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that could be. I don't know.
That could be part of the issue. Maybe Microsoft makes. Maybe the company makes trophies, but Microsoft makes achievements or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And I don't know what kind of issues it would cause. Maybe if it's trying to extract your name, it'll always use your old username instead of your new one. But that's not really an issue, I don't think. You just fucking backspace out. So yeah, I'll be curious to see what kind of issues that causes, because I'm sure there'll be something.
Oh, there will definitely be something. So I'm interested. Yeah, definitely. I don't know anybody who really wants to change their name.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually figured Pasty Pasta Man would want to change his name when he first got that name. But I think he's pretty well set on it now. I don't think it's
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Kesaria, she might want to change her name to actually be Kesaria. I don't know. We'll see. All right, so now that day is finally upon us, we'll go back into seeing what Xbox has got going on. October 2018 update for Xbox. It's bringing back avatars.
Hell no.
Which is weird.
And you know what's crazy is that in my opinion, they look worse.
They look weird.
They look horrifying. They're right in that uncanny valley. Just dunking their nuts right in my uncanny valley.
It just, I don't know. I wondered about this because way back when I created an Xbox account, I had the avatar, and
it was part of your user account.
Right, and my picture is still that avatar, And then I was like,
Yes.
how do I change this? And they have all these like really terrible icons that I could change it to.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, I don't want any of these.
No.
So I just left it the avatar.
No.
And now they're bringing
Oh,
it back. So
right.
maybe I'll get
background.
maybe I'll get an updated photo of my avatar.
Mm-hmm.
And then just be done with it. So weird.
Yeah.
When did they get rid of this? How long's it been?
Oh, I mean, the Xbox One did not have avatars. I think the Xbox One's avatar thing just didn't work properly at launch, so they were like, "Yeah, fuck it."
I like that the one guy back here is a young PC principal from South Park.
Yeah, pretty much.
The like microaggressions, bro.
The musculature is really fucking me up. Like, look at his legs. It's like he's like, I don't know if he's extremely buff or if he's kind of fat.
Are those capris?
Well, those are definitely capris. You got to wear capris if you're a fucking game animation character. But like, it just looks. They're like the musculature of the body that I'm looking at here on these characters is really fucking me up. It's all bad.
It's weird.
It's cool that they're bringing like differently abled.
The lines are all there, but they're super stylized.
Yes, I really like this. So there's a couple characters in wheelchairs. Pretty dope wheelchairs, to be honest, and very expensive. Right next to the wheelchair on the right, there's a girl with a fake leg. That's neat. She's got like the hook hand ass fucking kick ass 2 leg.
Like the spring loaded leg.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
The thing's dope.
That's the one to have.
That's like what was the guy's name that killed his wife? That had the fake legs. One fake leg. It's a Special Olympics guy or something.
I'm gonna need you to go ahead and narrow.
I'm gonna go ahead and hold on. He had a great name for it. A great name to murder your wife with. Handicapped.
The guy on the right has no arms. Wife.
What?
The guy on the right has no arms.
Just no arms?
Where?
No arms. I see a lot of arms.
He has like no arm, he said. Not seeing that one.
I don't know. Oh. Straight in the center, this guy in the gray shirt, blonde, camo shorts. Oh, you can see his left arm, never mind. Yeah. If you just straight up don't have an arm, that's pretty dope. I cannot. Okay, how is it that I typed in handicapped killed wife? Didn't find it. Really? How often does this fucking happen?
That's what I said. You're gonna have to narrow it down.
Hold on.
It's a, no pun intended, grim time in the world. All right. We'll go ahead and...
I'll chime in with that and like Oscar Pistorius. Oscar Pistorius.
I've never heard of that one.
South African sprint runner had that spring leg. He killed his wife. Or girlfriend. So sorry. All right, I'm sorry to bring that up.
All right.
Move right along.
Darksiders
3. It was brutal. So Darksiders 3 is going to have at least 2 post-launch DLCs. I just can't get excited for this.
No, first of all, like the game, I look at the game and I'm like, this is not going to work. Like, I look at that. And then they're already going, oh, we have 2 post-launch DLCs confirmed. It's like, bitch, put that in the main game.
Well,
you know.
That's a weird argument.
I know, but it's like, I don't know.
Well, I know what you're saying.
If this game is under, like, 15 hours, that shit needed to be in the main game.
Yeah, it's odd because, like, so this is not the original team that worked on Darksiders 1 and 2. So that's already a huge fucking red flag for me. Like, the majority of them went and worked with, Joe Madura on the Airship Syndicate team that made Battle Chasers. So, THQ went under and they were like, well, let's go do our thing. Yeah, I believe they are all paid DLCs. I don't know if they've announced, like, free added content yet. But,
why would you announce post-launch DLC if it wasn't?
When your game is already, like, the game is already teetering on, like, I don't know if it's going to be able to even make its money back, let alone be good enough to, like, warrant multiple trips back to it. You know what I mean? It was risky for Spider-Man to be talking about, oh, here's what the season pass is for. We're going to have additional content or whatever. Like, that was a risky move for Spider-Man. For Darksiders 3, it's almost suicide.
Yeah. Man, I don't know. This game's, I feel like it's doomed from the get-go. And
I'm not feeling great about it.
The thing that could help it is the fact that I'm going in underwhelmed.
That's definitely true. Like, okay, so that was true for the first Darksiders. I think the first Darksiders did really well because it didn't have to be anything. You know, damn, somebody answered in the chat. It was Oscar Pistorius the whole time, and I was still looking it up like an idiot. Shit. So
that's all I call that.
It's brutal.
Snapback.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's it's a different team. It's 6 years late. I thought Darksiders 2 was kind of a weak game. I liked Darksiders 1 a lot more.
Yeah, so they had this idea that was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that idea definitely fell apart after the first game. And they should have just ignored, the idea in general.
And just move along in that same universe or whatever.
Yeah, but they kept pulling back to this other thing. And now we have... I think the main character of this game feels like out of left field. It doesn't feel right.
Well, I don't know if Fury was ever introduced in 2, but like... I don't know. It's the character feels really out of left field. There really hasn't been any marketing push around this, so that's an issue.
Yep.
I guess it's all back under the THQ banner again, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's doomed probably, and it's coming out this next month, right?
Yeah, November.
Fucked.
So
Absolutely
you're already destroyed. You have Red Dead 2 online coming out, Fallout 76, Pokemon Let's Go, and that's just the top 3 on my head that I can think of. Like, good God. And the only thing that could save it is it's later in November, but I don't even know what else is coming out in November. I know we have Battlefield somewhere in there that has their new Battle Royale mode.
Yeah.
Like,
Fallout, of course.
Yeah, it's not going to be good for these guys. So I think they're going to be pretty bummed about this. All right. And the last little bit that we have here is some news coming from CD Projekt on Cyberpunk.
This is pretty cool.
Yeah, Cyberpunk 2077 dev enlists multiplayer studios to help them in some way. They haven't said in what way, but they're working with a company, a studio called Digital Scapes, on something multiplayer. They hired them to work alongside the Polish developer CD Projekt. Digital Scapes worked with another Polish studio, Techland, on Dying Light's Be the Zombie PvP mode. Now, it's very interesting to hear them say anything about multiplayer, because I thought this game was having no multiplayer at all. I thought this was just straight up going to be a single player RPG. And the game is billed as a true RPG, definitely not a multiplayer shooter, but yet they've grabbed this team to help alongside, and there's supposed to be some multiplayer component in some way. The Digital Scapes boss said in a press release that the deal is for a long-term partnership related to talent, experience, and technical knowledge. During the press release from CD, they specifically called out Digital Scapes' history with AAA multiplayer, console, and PC game development tools creation, asset production, and cloud computing. So I'm not sure. Digital Scapes will be helping CD Projekt Red with creating and optimizing technical solutions to help in Cyberpunk's development. Yeah, this one's a weird one. They could be picking these guys up for some sort of online something, or maybe they're just picking them up for their just extra help.
I mean, I could see I could see them picking up getting this help from these guys for maybe these guys will help make like it's been done in the past that a company makes a game and then they let somebody else make some expansions.
Right.
And
or like kind of like polish. Just
right.
adding that.
Let somebody else take over, like keeping the game alive as a service, basically.
Yeah, there are companies or studios that's all they do. They don't make games; they just finish other people's games.
Right. Which nothing wrong with that. It's definitely all about skill.
I think it might be the first time that CD has done that. Then
I think this is the first time CD's worked with anybody, maybe other than BioWare, to get that original engine. Right. But like, it's possible that they're going to work on a multiplayer component or whatever. CD Projekt Red's been really cagey about that.
I mean, the only thing we have is it says will feature multiplayer support in some capacity.
Exactly. Like, they're not saying how or why. So, like,
right.
It could be possible that these guys just know how to make a lot of shit happen on screen at once. It could be
their cloud, their cloud computing in general. They could just want them for
want that tech.
That tech and possibly their tool creation. Maybe they have some tools that have been developed, like for art pipeline or for development pipeline, that just make the job easier. And they're like, well, we could just buy that, or we could just buy the fucking tech from the company, basically, and just work with them so they don't give it to anybody else. And then now that's ours.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So, it could be a lot of things. This could definitely be an interesting, like, the idea of CD Projekt Red collaborating with other studios to work on shit is extremely awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I'm definitely going to need me some of that shit. So, that could be really good. We'll just have to see how it materializes.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, again, this is going to be something like, so they added multiplayer to Mass Effect and Dragon Age. Like, it just doesn't exist to me. I wish that time would have been spent on making the single player stuff better, but it doesn't hurt me. Like, it just doesn't exist for me, which is I'm in a really weird spot after seeing the gameplay of Fallout 76. I'm like highly worried that it's just not going to be enough single player content for me.
Yeah, I think in Fallout's case, we're going to have to create our own content.
You're definitely going to have to create your own fun there.
It's going to be more Minecraft, and it depends on the group you're playing with. That whole game is going to be dependent on like
who sits down across from you.
Yeah, who has the time to sit down the same time you do.
Exactly. So, we'll definitely have to, keep an eye out, see where it goes. But, with CD Projekt, from what we've seen so far of Cyberpunk, which was way more than I ever expected to see at this point.
Yeah.
I'm not worried at all. It could potentially do something kind of dumb that I don't ever play, but if it gets some more money and it makes Cyberpunk 2078 or Witcher 4 or whatever the fuck they make better, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing. Like, when I saw like what they were talking about with their history, it just development tools is a big thing. Like, that's something I'm, as like an asset creator, am always on the lookout for, is a tool that'll allow me to not have to do 15 minutes of cleanup on every tool every time I use a boolean, or on every asset every time I use a boolean.
Right.
Things that I can go click and then we're good to go. And that's what I think that they're buying. As well as, possibly a few other things. Cloud computing and whatnot. But if you want to see more on Cyberpunk 2077, we have the entire video over at Facebook. Facebook.com/Mammoth Games Inc. You can check out that entire video and more. Let us know what you think if you watch that video. It's a long one. It's probably about close to an hour. It's a little under an hour. It's like 45 minutes. So go check that out. Let us know. And anything else. And feel free, if we missed something this week or something you want to see, let us know at Mammoth Games Inc. on Twitter. And we will do our best. But that wraps up the show for...
All right, real quick. Just saw this come in.
Oh, boy.
Red Dead Redemption 2 is a 90 gigabyte download on Xbox One. So PS4 players are going to have to clear out 105 gigabytes. On Xbox One, it's 90. That'll, of course, change with patches because a lot of times patches kind of uninstall themselves when they're done and pretty much don't take up any larger space. Mm-hmm. So we'll have to keep an eye on how this goes.
A bit smaller over there.
A size difference of about 16 gigabytes would be in line with the average difference between downloaded and installed sizes. So it's not unusual, apparently. Well, they're saying, on PS4, you're going to have 105 gigs to install it. That's the full download and everything. Right. And then Microsoft says the game's size installed is 90, so that's about right. Because you typically download about 16 gigs that kind of delete themselves out when you're done.
Okay. Yeah.
So they should be about the same size. I think it's a little bit heavier to go on PS4 just because of the operating system. I think the downloads are usually a little bit bigger anyways. But also on Xbox, the downloads sometimes are bigger because it's not quite as efficient. So usually evens out. All right.
Cool. Yeah, but that is it for episode 70. That's pretty big.
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
That's yeah, I mean we've done a lot.
Yeah.
Come a long way.
But until next week, guys, thanks for hanging out. I am Night Swarm.
And I'm Filter Cord.
Have a good one.
Bye.